All right, guys, you got Cody with Dinkin' Donuts, and today I'm joined with my partner, Dawson with D-Dog Pickleball, and we got a special guest with us with Andreas from Alpha Omega Pickleball. Andreas is not only a paddle entrepreneur, he's in college, and he's a owner of a semi-pro UPA team. So we'll dive into it. So Andreas, thanks for joining us, man. It's been a long
Thank you
time
for having
coming.
me.
You bet.
Yeah, I'm glad I
So I
could join today.
Yeah, me too. I know we've been talking about this for almost a year now, and just things kind of keep slipping through the cracks. And I'm glad we were able to finally get this going. So we started off last year. We are going to talk about a couple different paddles, but now we're leaning into a new one that you just came out with. So we'll hit on that one. But before we jump into the paddles and everything, just kind of give us your background on what started Alpha Omega, and then we'll dive into questions from there.
Yeah, so I started playing pickleball probably in my sophomore year of high school, and I kind of just got really into it playing recreationally with my family. We'd go to Lifetime Fitness nearby our house. We'd play on their basketball courts there. It was a fun time. And as I got more involved with pickleball, we were starting to look at, oh, let's get some better paddles. We want to improve our game. We're playing more frequently. One Christmas, my mom bought my dad a pretty expensive paddle. It was like $200 paddle. And it was like, whoa, why is this so expensive? Why is it $200? I mean, doesn't it do the same thing as a $20 paddle? And so that kind of led me to thinking and doing research on paddles. Like, how is it so expensive? What's so special about this? And I knew pickleball was getting popular, and this was probably in the early stages of its starting to grow and kind of become a trending sport there. And so I noticed that people are either buying really expensive $200-$300 paddles, or people are buying cheap 20, 30, $40 paddles. And I was like, there isn't really much in between at this time. And I wanted to kind of fit into this market and create a high quality but affordable paddle line. So it's comparable to your $200-$300 paddles, but mine are in the $70 to $150 range, more
Hmm.
of that medium price range. And so I figured, as a high school student, I didn't want to spend $250 on a pickleball paddle, but I'd spend $100 on a paddle. I'd spend $120 or $70 on a paddle. So I kind of wanted to start that. And I throughout my junior summer, going into my senior year of high school, I was testing out paddles. I'm from Omaha, Nebraska. So fortunately, we actually have a few pros here in Omaha that helped me test them out, try them out, give me some feedback on them. And then once I got to something I liked and the players were liking, I saved up enough money, put an investment in it, got in my first shipment of paddles, and it sold out pretty fast. And that's when I was like, wow, there's potential. So I
Yeah.
kind of went full on into it and started growing it from there.
Awesome, awesome. You said that you had some pros that were helping you out with the demo and the testing. Are any of these pros like big names? Do you have anybody that's sponsored with your paddles now?
I wouldn't say big names. There's no
Okay,
top PPA pros, but they're
right.
your like 5.0 to 6.0
Yeah.
players.
Okay.
Matthew Barlow, he's the owner of
Yeah.
Midwest Pickleball Club.
Okay.
He's probably one of the more known players. Cam Loring, he helped me try out a few paddles too.
Nice.
They're both I think around 6.0s right now, so they're great players. And I just started sponsoring another player, Esteban. He's a local pro. He's the head pro at Ace Pickleball in Omaha, and he's like my
Okay.
first official pro player that I started sponsoring. And the paddle I just released, the Hercules, is his signature paddle too.
Nice. Well, and I think I just saw a video earlier today. May have just saw it today, but it was maybe a day old or something. But you're only 20.
Yeah,
And you're
I
still
just
in
turned
you're in
20.
college. I think, before we hit the record, you're 20, you're a sophomore in college now, and you started this as like a junior in high school.
Yes. Yep.
And dang. And what are you going to college for?
I'm at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, go Huskers,
Hmm.
and I'm studying business administration with a
Okay.
minor in something called the Clifton Builders Management. So it's basically like a management course that's like kind of revolves around your Clifton strengths that are like run through Gallup.
Okay. Okay.
As a fellow business major that isn't in college anymore, I'm well aware of everything you just said. And I was about to say, just hearing this intro and this bit, I think I could have just guessed. I was like, this has to be a business major.
Yeah.
Like, what else is in it? I almost wanted to ask, what aren't you doing in the space right now? Because you got your feet in so many, which I love. I think that's, I'm sure Cody's had this experience. We talk to a lot of these different people, these companies, stuff like that. And they always say, try to dip your toes in everything and see, what works for you, what sticks. And even if it doesn't stick, who knows? Maybe it will down the road and stuff like that. So I think it's great. I also got to commend you for knowing to start this in high school. Heck, I didn't even know where I wanted to go in college and high school, let alone when I was in college, what I wanted to do with my life or after college for a while and stuff like that. So to have the foresight and maturity to do that is very impressive.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I just wanted to say that. It's not really a question. I know, but I wanted to say that. So, I will say this though. So, and I'm sure you probably would have gotten into this later. What inspired the name and the logo?
Yeah, so my family, on my dad's side of my family is from Greece. They all still live in Greece. So it's kind of two things inspired it. First of all is my heritage. Alpha and Omega is the first and last letter of the Greek alphabet. So that comes from my heritage, but then also my faith. I'm a Christian. I have strong faith in my religion. And so if you are Christian as well, there's multiple Bible verses that God says I am the Alpha and the Omega. And so it kind of relates to my faith and also to my heritage, two very important things to me.
That's super cool. That's super cool.
Yeah. And then the logo, I drew it myself in art class in high school, but it's just the
That's
the
incredible.
alpha symbol and the omega symbol, and I just like put them on top of each other. Oh,
You wanna know
That's
something
that's
funny? You're not the first paddle owner to tell me that,
really?
and I promise you won't be the last. I'm not gonna say who, because 'cause you'd be surprised for some of them. There's some fairly well-known brands that were self-drawn or,
Really?
like, just funny stories behind them. Yes. It's a chat for offline, but, yeah, so, hey, I think it looks good. I think it's got
Thank
a
you.
snazzy look to it
Thank
and
you. Thank
stuff
you.
like
I,
that,
I
you know?
I agree. So before we jump into your new one that you mentioned earlier, the Hercules, you had the Poseidon and the Ares. Now I don't have those with me right now. I remember there was differences for each of them. Explain the Poseidon and explain the Ares, and then how we came to the Hercules.
Yeah. So the Poseidon was the first paddle I ever released, and it's actually on its like third generation of the paddle. So at first when I released, it was a elongated T700 carbon fiber, and it was all white handle, white frames, and
Oh,
then
goodness.
um, and I sold it out pretty fast, but the customers were like, the uh the edge, it when you like if you hit the ground a little bit on accident, it like scuffs up the edge because it was white.
Well,
So I was like, okay. I changed the next shipment to a black rim and then white handle and everything else the same. And then was selling more. The customer's like, my hands they're pretty sweaty, and when I'm holding on to this white grip, eventually the grip starts to change colors, because of your sweat from your palms and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, that is happening to a lot of these. So it changed to a black grip, and then I changed the shape to a hybrid shape. I added another layer. Two more layers of carbon fiber. So it's now 3 layers of T700 carbon fiber with the EVA foam around the edges and the polypropylene honeycomb core. It's 16
Hmm.
millimeters. It's a Gen 2 paddle now. So that was the first one I released. And then from there, I was like, I want to try out some other materials. So I went to the Kevlar direction, and I was like, I like the elongated because that was the original Poseidon before I changed it to a hybrid. So I did an elongated Kevlar paddle, which became the Ares. And then after that, I was like, I want to experiment with some more materials. So the titanium carbon fiber weave, that synthetic titanium material was getting popular. I saw a few, like two brands were releasing it. And I was like, gosh, that's pretty cool. I think this is going to get more popular. I mean, and so I tried
Hmm.
titanium, and that became the Cronus paddle, which is now one of my top
Oh,
sellings.
that's right. I forgot about the Cronus. Yeah.
Yep. And then after the Cronus, I released, at the same time, I released a training paddle that I call the Cyclops because it kind of looks like the eye of a Cyclops. And that was just a little
I
training
definitely
paddle.
saw images for that floating around the
What's
Cyclops
that?
a bunch somewhere. I've seen some images of the Cyclops floating
Oh,
around
really?
online.
Yeah. So I released the training paddle, and then over the summer, last summer, I released a like beginner paddle called the Aura, just kind of a
Yep.
fancy colored paddle. That's my cheapest paddle. It's $70. Kind of perfect for like your beginner players, kind of just wanting to get into it. And then just recently I released the Hercules paddle. So that's your Gen 3 part up. There it is. It's got
Yeah.
part
I made
foam,
sure to
part
have this one.
polypropylene, elongated 3 layers of T700 carbon fiber. It's got the foam around the edges, so it's kind of like your floating core, essentially, that floating core Gen 3. And now that's when I started to experiment with the cores of the paddles. I was working on like the surface materials, and then now I'm working on the cores. So that was my first, foam core paddle, and then the next one I release will be following that trend of this foam inside the cores that we see going on in the new generation of paddles.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, obviously, I haven't touched the Hercules, hit anything like that because Andres, I don't think we've spoken in years, but prior to this, but now let me ask, so for the Hercules, if you were to classify this as a gen on the internals with the core here, are we classifying this as a Gen 4 paddle?
I think
2?
not 3. It's
3?
either 3
Yeah,
or 4.
it's a tighter window.
Well,
You're like
you said it's
you're like
foam
doing
with
this so you can only see 2 fingers.
so you said it's polypropylene and then foam with the floating core,
Yes, yeah. So it's
right?
like Gen 3
So
because
it's
the Gen 4, it's
It's
not
yeah,
full
different,
foam.
yeah.
Yeah. So it would be a
Okay,
yeah.
Gen 3.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, awesome. No, I was just curious. I always like to kind of find the core layouts and stuff like that. A lot of what I do on my channel is the more technical side of it.
Hmm.
I do kind of the face side, stuff like that too, but I like to deep dive. That's just kind of how I am as a person.
Yeah.
So, in general, which is why reviewing fits me so well. But yeah, so let's talk about this. So obviously, I'm assuming there's been some iterations. Did you do the whole prototyping thing with this
It
one like you
took a
did kind
long
of the other
time.
ones?
Yeah.
Yep. How many iterations to be exact?
Oh, man, I got a stack of them at my desk at home. Big stack.
I believe it. I believe it.
I started working on the foam probably a year ago when it was like just coming out with like the strips of foam around the sides, that like U shape, that like propulsion core that Eula did. When that started coming out is when I started experimenting with some foam stuff, and then it went from I've tried full foam Gen 4 stuff, I've tried floating cores, I've tried like the half foam propulsion, I've tried, you know, all kinds of different things with foam inside of them, different shapes of the foam, different full foam, different half foam, half polypropylene. And then this one, finally, it was coming towards the end. I was like, this is starting to do good. And I was connecting with Esteban, a local pro. And I was like, man, you want to try out the paddle? And he really liked it. And I was just about to release my paddles in Ace Pickleball in their demo program. They do like a quarterly demo program. And so it all kind of came together where he's the head pro at my local Ace. I was releasing my paddles in Ace's nationwide demo program, and I was about to plan on releasing my last paddle. So then once he kind of was like, man, this is a great paddle, I was like, all right, let's do this. I signed him. I got in with Ace, became his signature paddle, and then released it all through the course. I was like, yeah, this is definitely the time to do it. That was like the final sign of this is the paddle I want to finally release.
Nice. So going over all your iterations, what was the final? Is it all, is it all around the perimeter? Is it only partial? What did you end up coming
So
down with?
it's got the EVA around the sides, and then it has like the EPP.
Yep.
I'm trying to use my
Mm-hmm.
hands, but it's not really a good
Yeah, no, I get you.
description. And then it goes the
We
EPP
got
around
you.
the
We got
sides,
you.
and then it
Yep.
has more like in the throat area, a little section in the
Okay.
throat area, and then like all the way around the sides. So and then the polypropylene is
Okay.
floating in the middle area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. So yeah, that's definitely, like solid Gen 3,
Yeah.
technology. And it hits good. I only got to play with it that one day last week when I got back from vacation. And at that time I was also, trying to fit in a couple other paddles just because I'd been gone for a
Yeah.
week. But today was my Friday, so I have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday that I plan on getting a lot of play time, a lot of video time, and it's sitting right here on the
Let's
top.
go.
I got it. I got it wrapped. Found some nice color orange that kind of matches the
Nice.
overall colors, so it blends pretty good. So we'll be rocking it and getting some video with it, and I'll probably give me a couple weeks to get some gameplay with it, and then I'll shoot out my
Cool.
review. The question I have about, your current paddles, maybe just a Hercules and then moving forward, is each paddle gonna be like its own shape, or are you going to try to do, the elongated hybrid standard for each, iteration of your paddle?
Yeah, right now, since it's still like a small company, I'm just sticking to like the
Yeah.
most popular shapes, your elongated and hybrid.
Mhm.
But I'm not working on a new paddle right now, not like officially, but I have been thinking like if this Hercules is continues to do well, maybe the next paddle I release would just be a different shape of it. I kind of been thinking about doing
Yeah.
that, or maybe a different shape of like the Cronus, which is also one of my top selling. So I've been thinking about that as well, but I don't know. It's it's better for me to release a new paddle than release different shapes or different thicknesses of my
Yeah.
old ones, just
Yeah.
because it's I don't have as much capital to put into making a
Yeah.
alternate version
Yeah.
versus making a new one. A new one would sell better than an alternate version.
Yeah. Absolutely understandable.
There's also the there's also the USAP piece or the UPA piece of, okay, you can get likeness and compatibility testing, you then have to pay for the new shape. You have to pay for the new testing. You have to pay for the whatever, the retesting if you have to
Yeah.
retest. You have to pay for the creation, the manufacturing, the distribution. There's a lot more pieces to it that if you're not in the paddle industry directly that people don't understand. That's why when kind of seeing your guys' catalog similar to like a bread and butter. That's how they started as well. They just did like they had a couple paddles, they just did an elongated shape. Then they messed around with a hybrid a little, then they did a wide body for one. And then now they're kind of as they've grown, they're kind of doing the more paddle line
Yeah.
thing while still keeping true to that kind of small business nature of doing the kind of the one-offs like that. And it's tricky. Like, I totally get that there, and I feel that for you. I think that kinda like you said, it does probably make more sense just to make a
Yeah.
new paddle rather than try to go for the full line, but it sounds like, the Hercules might get a revisit there, so that's exciting
Definitely.
as
There's a
well.
chance, yeah. And
So,
paddle approvals have gotten pretty expensive, so you know that
in my opinion, I'm not even
you
gonna start going down
Yeah.
that road. But
Yeah, that's
I was about to say, and then you have to pick which side of the fence you wanna be on, stuff like this, so it's politics that don't need to be
yeah,
in pickleball,
I
quite frankly,
agree.
but, I will ask this, now, I know you said you're kinda hugging to the elongated, you're doing the hybrid occasionally, and kinda lead into my question of what was kinda down the road and, like, your kinda goal vision for, I'd say, Alpha Omega. I don't love 5 years for paddle companies because it's a long time in the
Yeah,
sport, I feel like a month is a year
feels like it.
sometimes in pickleball. So, I would say let's say 2026 went best it could. What's Alpha Omega look like in 2027?
Yeah, I mean, my main goal was kinda just providing high quality, affordable paddles for people, so I really wanna hit kinda the younger generation, pickleball started as the stereotypical it was the older retired people that were playing, but now that's gotten so popular, a lot of young people are getting into it, and so right now, I'm the president of my college's pickleball team, and I'm working on starting a high school pickleball league in Nebraska because I didn't have a club at my high school, and so I'd really like to see my paddles being used in like the collegiate level, at the high school level, and just being like a high school kid or college kid wants to go out and play pickleball, and they're thinking, "Gosh, I want to get a paddle." Then I'd like my brand to be the kind of one they think of. It was a young kid who started it. It's an affordable paddle, but it's still got good quality to it, and that's kind of where I'd like to see it going is hitting that market, and I'd like to see that part of pickleball grow just in general. I enjoy being able to go out onto the courts, and I'm starting to see more 20-year-olds popping up, more high school kids popping up. People are reaching out to join the pickleball club here at my university, and I'm working on starting the league for the high schools in Nebraska. So I like to see that part of the sport grow too.
I think that's great. I'm right there with you. As someone that has done a little bit of not a ton, a very small amount of grassroots push to help some peeps, stuff like that. I'm all for that
Yeah.
stuff personally. So I know Cody's doing some of that stuff too on the side there,
what?
with your team and all that. you're trying
The
out for.
team,
That's a yeah, it's a piece of it, which we
yeah,
can talk about. I know you're gonna talk about down the road here, but that is technically that's a form of that. Even
that
even just being a player of it because you're representing, you're helping grow it, stuff like
hey,
that,
it's
and people don't
let's calm
realize
down.
that.
He might be a an opponent here soon.
Oh, that would be
Who knows?
fun.
Who knows?
Oh, and bring it you're gonna have to sponsor your whole
Yeah.
team then, you know that, right? You can't have them playing other paddles, dude. Then you're gonna have to somehow convince this guy to play with your paddle and still be a
Oh, if
paddle
I play
reviewer
again, if
since
I
he
make
can't
the
take your
team and I pl
sponsorship. And so,
if I make the
you
team and
know
we do end up playing, oh yeah, I'm bringing the Hercules to
Oh
that
man, I can't
okay,
get
event.
beat
I
by my
like
own
it, I
paddle
like it,
now.
I like it.
That's crazy.
I know. Hey, if it's happened to Ben Johns, it might happen to
Yeah,
you, my friend. So you know, if there's enough of them out there, you never know. Yeah, I mean, I think it's super exciting. I love that you're doing what you're doing at your age still. Let me ask this. Are you planning on going full time on this when
that's the
college
goal.
ends?
Yeah, I got 2.5 more years
Okay.
of
Sweet.
school, and I just plan on growing my business as high as I can get it. So that way I can just graduate college and continue working on my business full time. That's the plan.
That's what you tell these professors when they try to give you enough homework that you
Yeah,
can't make
I tell them,
paddles,
"Oh,
huh?
I have a
You're
meeting.
like, "Yo,
I
I
got
got
a
a
meeting.
business
I
to run."
can't do my
Like,
assignment."
"I got meetings. I gotta do some R&D. Like, I gotta go hit for 2 hours. I gotta do some R&D," you know? Yeah, no, I think that's awesome, and 100%. That would be the first thing I'd always tell people is chase the dream. You always have room for the after, you know?
Do you
So,
do this by yourself, or do you have like, is anybody in family with you, like helping you out with it? Like,
I
um, are you just a one man
I'm
show
the
right now?
only person that's in the business, but I certainly haven't done it on my own. Growing a business can be tough and
Right.
you definitely need some outside help. I've had, mentors, I've had people advise me, my professors at school,
Yeah.
my dad, my sister, my mom, they've all helped me a ton, my friends. From
Yeah.
everything to like testing out my paddles, my dad will come up to me and he'll be researching paddles too. He's like, "Oh, you should try this out." And then I'll be like,
oh.
"All right, let's get a prototype in. Let's see how it goes." And he'll have it.
Now, oh, sorry, Andreas. But do you talk with the factory directly, or do you have like a
I
rep
talk to them
type of
directly.
deal, like some of these
Yeah.
companies do? You
Yep.
talk to them directly? Okay. And are you in US, out of
Out of
US
US,
factory-wise,
overseas.
or okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel
That's
like
gonna
that's
be
what you
Yeah.
tough.
gotta do. Like, it's tough to
It
do it
is.
here. There's not a lot of people doing it here. I give them a lot of credit for the ones that can do it in US right now, and I know that tariffs are making it tougher to
Yeah.
do it out of US, so,
It's
you
it's
know
tough, but the US ones
Yeah,
I've talked to a couple of them, but it's
okay.
nothing that's I mean, even, Eula's not doing anything in the US. A lot of other huge brands aren't doing anything in the US, so it's
Yeah.
Oh,
like
yeah, no, totally. I
Yeah.
was just more curious, to be honest. I was about to say I haven't met most are out, and the very few that I've spoken to that are in are either a massive brand or they're like they started doing it out of
yeah.
their garage, and the garage has just turned into an office building and like 4 more employees, and they're still doing it out of that basically with that
Yeah.
kind of mentality. Yeah, I think that's awesome. Yeah, have you ever gotten the chance to go
Not
to the
yet.
factories?
I want to. It's college can be busy, but
It's That's one thing I'm working on right now with a couple of brands. I wanna do the same thing. I wanna go
yeah,
see them. I wanna see the behind. I know Cody got a chance to recently with the company, so, I think that's exciting for sure, and it's
it
it's
is.
interesting, like, you can hit as many paddles as you want, you can cut them open, you can X-ray them, you can dissect them, but it's nothing beats the experience of actually building the
Yeah.
thing from scratch.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
So,
videos
you
don't
know
don't do it justice. I'll see the videos of them, on their printing presses and going through the testing,
Wow.
but, I haven't been there firsthand yet, but it's a pricey trip, but I'd like to go see it at some point.
I was about to
No.
say, it's not a cheap trip, and there's a lot of proprietary tech
Yes.
that they can't film. So the videos
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
don't
Well,
do it justice.
Yeah.
the videos of
That
my
is
paddles.
But, you know
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I thought you just
not
meant in
I
general.
mean,
I was
not in
like,
general, like,
yeah,
I'll have my
yeah.
manufacturer, they'll send me videos and updates of the paddles going through, they got the big machines printing over the faces, and they'll do, like,
Yep.
pre-testing for, like, USA, so they'll have, like, this machine, like, you have the paddle hanging here like this, and a ball comes and shoots at it to like test durability and things like that. So it's pretty
Yep.
cool to see that stuff. But
Yeah, it's yeah.
It was a
yeah,
trip.
Oh, I believe
It
it, I believe it. Yeah, I tried to replicate one of those
really.
destructive machines to make destructive testing faster on pedals, and it went so bad, it was ridiculous. At one point, I even tried to hang, like, a hammer to a string and swing it like this, just hang on, where are we going? There we go. Just to see, like just, whatever, like, with an older paddle, just to see,
Yeah,
like, the damage it would do, like, the core stuff, and then, whatever, X-ray the sheet over after and, like, see the before and after. It's just so much faster just to hit, like, to
yeah,
just drive balls with it than it is to do that it's like, unless I went and bought, whatever, a 10,
Yeah,
20
we're
plus
we're not
thousand.
we're not John Q. We can't
Yeah,
just
I know, I was
build
about
a
to say,
ball
unless
cannon in our
I
basement.
built a cannon, unless I go get the
yeah.
cannon for 10 grand, Exactly. Oh, but,
I mean, I can't even get a freaking graffiti to do my own swing weight and twist weight.
well, hey, we'll see on that one. I was about to the graffiti's been getting used lately, man. There's been a lot of paddles in the door lately.
I
But
know.
yeah, I mean, hey, it's all fun piece. Now, let me ask you real quick before we let you go, Andreas. What do you think the biggest challenges right now in the paddle space outside of the obvious like brand name recognition, all that, outside of the testing and the banning and the rebanning, all that stuff? What do you think outside of those factors is the biggest challenge
For
right now?
me in general, or for like the industry?
Yeah, like for you
For
as a
me,
brand owner.
it's my marketing. That's like my biggest challenge. Because
Okay.
when you're trying to not just grow a business, but learn how to grow a business, learn how to run a business all at the same time. I mean, I'm learning every day and then trying to apply it an hour later. And, putting marketing has been one of the harder things for me to learn how to do. I've done like ads, meta ads, Google ads, trying to get my brand out there on the internet, and it can be tough. And so I've switched over to doing only organic things. So now I'm only doing like posting on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, and that's what I'm working on doing now. But marketing can be tough, especially when there's large companies out there that have been around a long time in the industry and they put a lot of money into their marketing. Excuse me. It can be tough to beat some of those large marketing machines out there when you're trying to do it yourself and you're on a smaller budget. But that's definitely my hardest thing is being able to find an affordable way to promote my brand, promote my story, promote my paddles out onto the internet and social media.
And I think that's
Alright.
the video that I saw earlier today that you were talking about for like your
Yeah.
30 days that you're trying to like focus on. And I think it was today is the one that you're talking about trying to post something like two, three, even
Yeah.
just 5 times a day to try to keep that going, just to, kind of get that content and your story out there. And I hope that we can help with this. Like since you and I talked last year and leading up to right now, like I want to help support you. I think your paddle is great. Your other ones when I was playing with those, they were awesome, but this one I think is fitting more into the common niche of what pickleball is right now, which is people looking for harder hitting, that heavy hitting paddle. And I would say that yours is right up there. I wouldn't say it's like boomstick level, like out of this world, but it's right there. It's not a control paddle. It's not, oh my God, like this is out of control. It's a nice all court leading power paddle based on that, a couple games I had with it. And if it felt good, I'm gonna continue playing with it. And we'll get this video out there, we'll get the review videos out there, and you know, try to get the
Yeah.
Hercules out into people's
Yeah,
hands.
I
So
appreciate you guys having me on the podcast because like I said, the promotion and the marketing is really important, and that's the key. And I watch a lot of Shark Tank, and you wouldn't believe how many like people go on Shark Tank saying they have done all of their sales just entirely through going viral on social media. So it's possible, and just got to be consistent with it. And
mhm,
so having opportunities like this is I'm really thankful for, and it really does help me a lot to get my brand and promote my story and my paddles out there. So, and I'm glad you're liking the paddle too. Hopefully it'll become the
yeah.
main.
Ah,
Maybe
We'll see.
maybe
he
We'll see.
knows, he
We'll
knows.
we'll see.
Hey, main of the week it's a segment that's coming up later today. Yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, I don't know how much you watch this, but you probably, if you do, you know then that I hit predominantly wide bodies as my main, so I might not be your target main of the week person. Although I've been swayed elongated once or twice.
Maybe
I'm
it
not the
happen
elongated
again.
king over here, though.
If
So
you want ideas on a wide body, so you don't piss off Dawson, make sure it's a solid 8x8. He's pretty freaking
The
picky
eight
about
by
the
eight.
8x8 rule.
16 by 8.
8
16 by
by
8. I'm
16
8.
by
sorry.
8. 8 by
16 by
8.
8. I'm sorry.
Dude, that
I'm
thing's a
sorry.
spoon then. That's like the size of my iPhone. Like,
I'm sorry. 16 by
you're
8.
gonna
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the Cyclops right there for you.
Hey, leave me alone. I just got off work.
Hey, I feel you, dude. Like, I'm right there with you. But hey, man, hey, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
thank you. I
And
appreciate this too. It's been great.
yeah.
Thank you, guys.